Hey everybody, welcome to another interview with one of our successful students, Giuseppe. After joining the Younger Academy in just 9 months, Giuseppe achieved an impressive 120% increase. Great job, Giuseppe. Let's learn more about his journey and what made the difference for him. Hi, Giuseppe, how are you doing today?
Hi, Chelsea. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm great, thanks. So let's get started with the first question. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for a living?
I'm an engineer, and I work as a manager in a commercial tech company. I deal with technology and IT, but I want to emphasize that I don't have programming skills. And I think that this is something important to note for the context of this interview. Basically, I have no background in programming. My job is quite demanding, and it does take up most of my time. So, like many people, I can't spend the whole day in front of a computer monitoring markets and strategies. These are tasks I manage to do in the evenings or over the weekends. And that's why this trading method has been a huge help for me.
Excellent. What challenges were you facing before joining our program?
Honestly, I wasn't doing much at all. I had some experience years ago and made a few attempts at discretionary trading. Fortunately for me, I risked only a small amount of capital. I eventually stopped because, aside from a few minor wins, which I now attribute more to sheer luck than skill or knowledge and awareness about what I was doing, I lost most of the little capital I had allocated. The main issue was that my decisions, such as buying or selling, were heavily influenced by those emotions that inevitably come into play when trading. They can be both positive and negative. It can be the euphoria of success or the discouragement of losses. These emotions, these feelings led to me to make poor decisions in most of my activities as a trader, and I believe that emotional influence was my greatest limitation and the reason I ultimately gave up trading.
I imagine many traders face the same challenges.
Yes, I think so too.
What made you choose our program over others you can find on the market?
I stumbled upon Andrea Unger's program almost by accident. I saw an ad for his book, which piqued my curiosity, so I ordered it. After carefully reading it, I was genuinely intrigued by this world of systematic trading. Of course, I did my due diligence. There are countless programs online, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But after some research, I found Andrea Unger to be a trustworthy and credible figure. He's been featured in interviews with respected media outlets, which reinforced my confidence in his legitimacy and made me trust him. But what truly stood out was his honesty. He doesn't promise quick riches or effortless results. Instead, he emphasizes that success requires hard work, study, and a clear understanding of the risks involved in trading. And this transparency set him apart from the countless get-rich-quick schemes I had encountered, which promised to turn €5,000 into €50,000 in a few months without even lifting a finger. So let's say that I found this approach refreshing and grounded. And after reading his book, I scheduled a consultation with one of his advisors, and the clarity and professionalism in that conversation, that convinced me to take the plunge and join the program.
Oh, okay. And was there something specific in our program that significantly helped you?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, my main issue was managing the emotional aspect of trading. I'm a highly rational person, so I found two key elements in this method that were incredibly beneficial to me. First, it completely eliminates the emotional component from trading because everything is based on numbers and statistics. It's a system that, once set up, runs automatically without requiring manual intervention. Second, it gave me confidence. You see, as a rational person, I appreciate that the method relies on historical data and statistics. Essentially, and I don't mean to oversimplify, it's a statistical approach that analyzes past market data over a defined period and uses that information to make informed trading decisions. So these are the two aspects that made me lean towards this method, and most importantly, gave me confidence in its reliability. Now, of course, it's not 100% foolproof, but it provides an excellent foundation and a solid guide for the work I do.
Andrea often says there's no magic wand in trading, but awareness takes us far.
Exactly.
After applying what you've learned, what kind of results have you achieved?
Well, after an intense initial study phase where I focused exclusively on learning for about 1 or 2 months, I started running small tests with a very small amount of capital and 2 or 3 strategies. I ran these live tests to see how things worked and to get more familiar and confident with the tools. And then I've been doing serious trading for about 6 months now. And I can say that I've completed 6 months of consistent live trading, using a slightly larger but still modest amount of capital. And in these 6 months, I achieved roughly 120% gain, essentially more than doubling my initial capital. Now, of course, there are drawdowns, good periods, and less favorable ones. It's like a rubber band. You stretch it up, and then it pulls back slightly. However, over the medium to long term, this rubber band effect leads to profits. That said, it is still too early to draw definitive conclusions. I've decided to wait a year before making any big assessments. But so far, I'm happy with the progress.
So 6 months and 120%, right?
Yeah, 120% in 6 months, yeah.
Okay, great job. I hope you can keep this up through the future.
Absolutely.
And how has your life changed since you've achieved these results?
Practically speaking, my life hasn't really changed. I still have to work to make a living, and I keep doing the same things I did before. What is great is that I've gained a new hobby, something I'm passionate about, something I enjoy and find fulfilling, and I even managed to earn some money from it. Who knows? I mean, I have only been doing this for 6 months, so it's too early to say. But in the future, it could turn into something more serious. For now, though, I'm happy just to have fun with it, because it fuels my passion. What I'm most proud of is how much knowledge and skill I've gained compared to when I was almost blindly navigating the markets. I've also become much more aware of the risks involved in trading. At the same time, I've learned methods and strategies to manage these risks effectively, especially when it comes to protecting my initial capital. As Andrea always says, preserving your capital is crucial because it allows you to recover and keep going when things take a turn for the worse. Without that, well, you're out of the game.
Exactly. Where do you think you'd be now if you hadn't decided to join our program?
Well, I definitely wouldn't be trading, that's for sure. After the losses I suffered a few years ago, I lost confidence. More importantly, I felt that I didn't have the tools to trade in a meaningful or positive way. Without those, there was no point. So, yeah, without this program, I wouldn't be trading at all.
Yeah, it must be a bit disheartening, right?
It really is.
What would you say to someone watching this interview who's still unsure about joining the program?
I tell them that if they're genuinely interested in the topic, if it excites and motivates them, and they're willing to study a lot, because as Andrea always says, there is a lot to learn, then this method is ideal. It provides everything you need to achieve something great, provided you're also ready to take some risks. And it's a method that guides you from zero. Even if you know absolutely nothing, it starts you off with the basics, explaining everything, from opening accounts to configuring software. Within 8 weeks, because that's how long my program lasted, I was live trading and fully self-sufficient. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, this is just the beginning. There is still so much to learn, and trading is a continuous journey. You always need to create new strategies and keep up with market changes, since strategies that worked last year may no longer work today. And that's why I wholeheartedly recommend this program. However, if someone is looking for a quick way to make money without effort, I'd say that this isn't the right path, simply because I don't think such a thing exists. This program does come with a cost, but I find it fair, especially because you can quickly recover that cost if you do well. Personally, within just 2 or 3 months, I had already earned back the initial investment. So, in my opinion, it's absolutely worth it.
That's great, Giuseppe. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.
I wish you continued success in reaching new heights just as you have so far. Thank you so much, Giuseppe.
Thank you, Chelsea. Take care and thank you, everyone.